There's a truth nobody wants to say out loud. If you were born into a good foundation, stable family, the right connections, not having to worry about rent at 18, you'd probably be somewhere further right now. Not because you're more talented, just because you started higher up. That's not injustice to be angry about, that's just reality to look at clearly. Most of us start at zero. Some of us, if luck wasn't on our side, start in the negative. Family debt, circumstances, things we didn't choose but still have to carry. I've been there, and if you're watching this, you probably know exactly what that feels like. This isn't a motivation list. These are 9 survival rules, what I call the zero margin protocol, for people playing the hardest game and with the fewest pieces on the board. Here's something nobody in the hustle culture space wants to admit. Someone with money and connections can make 10 bad calls and still be fine. They lose on a bad investment, they have savings to fall back on. They bet wrong on a business, family bails them out. One mistake doesn't end their game, it's just an expensive lesson they write down and move on from. But for us, one bad financial decision can erase years. Think about it. One impulsive all-in on a stock tip, one meme coin that looked like the next big thing, and just like that, 6 months of saving gone. A year. Sometimes more. Not just the money. The time, the momentum, and the worst part, you have to start over from a hole, not from zero. That's not a lesson, that's a serious threat to your financial stability, one that doesn't just hurt now, it delays everything that comes after. Warren Buffett said it simply, rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Most people hear that and think he meant never take risks. That's not it. What he meant was, if you're going to lose, lose as little as possible. Protect the base. Because without a base, there's nothing left to build on. For people starting from zero or below it, that's not investing advice. That's a survival principle. Look at your wallet once. Not to judge, just to see clearly. Every dollar spent isn't a thing. It's days of freedom that just disappeared. That outfit, 3 days gone. That meal out, half a day. Those shoes, the ones bought to look like you've already made it. That's a week of freedom thrown out the window. The more we spend to look rich, the more we become slaves to other people's perception. And those people honestly don't care. Saving money isn't about building a number in a bank account. It's about building the power to say no to jobs we hate, to people we don't want to serve, to the trap that's been designed specifically for people starting from the bottom. Live below your means, not because suffering is a virtue, but because that's the only way to buy freedom back, one day at a time. This one sounds small. It's not. Cooking your own food isn't just about saving money, though it does that. It's a domino, the first one in a chain that most people never think to set up. When we cook, we control what goes in. Better input, better energy, clearer thinking, better decisions. And somewhere down that chain, less stress, less brain fog, no obesity spiral, no chronic fatigue that quietly kills productivity before the day even starts. People who are seriously building don't treat their body like a trash can between work sessions, not because they're disciplined saints, because they understand that the body is the only tool that goes everywhere with them. As an underdog, do you actually have the money for medical bills? Do you have the time to be sick? No gym membership required. Push-ups, pull-ups, bodyweight squats, jump rope, running. These aren't beginner alternatives to real training, they're the foundation that built athletes before commercial gyms existed. And if a cheap gym is available and that's what keeps the consistency going, use it. The method doesn't matter, the habit does. But here's what most people miss about training, it's not just physical, it's another domino. Start showing up consistently, the body changes. When the body changes, the way we walk into a room changes. And that shift, that quiet confidence that comes from knowing we've been putting in work nobody saw, it bleeds into everything else. Job opportunities, relationships, social situations. People respond differently to someone who looks like they take themselves seriously. That's not vanity, that's just how the world works. As an underdog, we're already fighting perception on every front. A strong, healthy body is one of the few signals entirely within our control to send. Train. Not to look good, to show up differently. I used to be that guy, arguing with strangers online, getting worked up over comments, spending an entire day going back and forth with people who probably weren't even worth my attention. And honestly, some of them might not have even been real, but trolls. Accounts with nothing to lose and all day to waste. And I'd sit there, burning through hours, just to win an argument that nobody remembered the next morning. And I walked into it every single time. Drama, gossip, online fights. They feel urgent in the moment. They mean nothing 2 days later. The underdog doesn't have a surplus of time, energy, or focus. Every unit of attention is a resource. Spend it like one. Winning the argument was never the point. Winning the game is. This one's hard to talk about, because the ego never announces itself. It doesn't show up saying, "Hey, I'm your ego and I'm about to make a bad decision for you." It disguises itself as principle, as self-respect, as "I can't let this slide." Way too many damn times. Someone says something that hits wrong. A situation feels unfair, and everything inside says, respond. Push back. Don't let them think they won. There's an old concept, Dayung Rukie. True courage looks like cowardice from the outside. Picture someone with a strong body, a clear mind, sharp eyes, gets triggered and doesn't react, stays quiet when they could explode, absorbs without flinching, lets the small thing go because they're completely locked in on the big thing. That's the hardest kind of discipline there is. And the people who were trying to get a reaction, they stop mattering entirely. Strategic humility isn't self-erasure. It's refusing to let others write the script of how we respond. This one isn't about strategy, it's about something quieter. When we're deep in survival mode, head down, cutting costs, protecting energy, dropping ego, there's a risk nobody warns about. We slowly becoming harder, colder, more closed off. And at some point we look up and don't recognize the person we've become. Helping others quietly, without needing credit, is how we stay anchored. The act of choosing to stand on the side of someone weaker, someone struggling, someone who needs it, that keeps something alive inside. The part that still believes people matter. That empathy isn't weakness, that we're building towards something worth having, not just escaping something we hate. Giving without announcing it isn't charity, it's a compass check. A reminder of who we actually are underneath all the discipline and the grind and the survival rules. Don't drift too far. Stay human. Not every game is worth playing, and this is where a lot of underdogs make the most expensive mistake, trying to win on someone else's terms. The wrong games are obvious once you see them. High-risk bets that require capital you don't have. Show-off games where the entry fee is looking successful before you are. Network games where every door is already locked behind relationships built over decades. Capital games where the person with more money simply outlasts you, not because they're smarter, not because they work harder, but because they can afford to wait longer than you can survive. Playing those games with nothing in your pocket isn't brave. It's just expensive. The right game for an underdog looks different. It's the solo game, where it's just skill, consistency, and time. Just the work, compounding quietly over months and years. Content creation, freelancing. A niche service that requires deep knowledge most people won't bother to develop. Or the small team game, 2-3 people maximum, moving fast, low overhead, solving a specific problem for a specific group of people that the big players ignore because it's too small for them. Choose the game carefully, then go all in. Nobody can promise you how far this goes. Not me. Not any mentor, any book, any success story on the internet. We can follow every rule on this list. Stay disciplined, protect the base, choose the right game, show up every single day, and still not know where we end up. That uncertainty doesn't go away, it's just part of the deal. But here's what I keep coming back to. At the end of all of this, not the end of the year, not the end of the grind, but the actual end. The question won't be how much we made. It won't be how far we climbed, it'll be whether we lived in a way we can look back on without flinching. No regret. That's the real finish line. And if we only get one shot at this, one life, one run, no respawns, then the least we can do is live it like we meant it. Not perfectly, not without failure, but fully, with intention. With the kind of quiet dignity that comes from knowing we didn't fold when folding would have been easier. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. We're going to carry one of them either way. We're already on the way. That's enough to keep going. 9 rules. No shortcuts. No guarantees. Just a harder, cleaner way to play a game that was never designed in our favor. It will be pain. Good luck, my friend.